this was the conversation before, say, helicopter crash happened, Nina SSI. And what was the conversation? Nina, cocoa producer price increments, I buy NDC, Amanyukunu, or more promise, Ghana, cocoa for. Now, Honorable Eric Opoku, our a Sunafo South Member of Parliament. I think saying I have a region, or yes, I stand to be corrected. Now, Orawe the full details on, and as a kind of breakdown on the prices of cocoa, especially the producer, which is the farmer. Said your musi etono amanoni international markets, and as I said your musi tono anyhow or musi edema equia 4 per ton. Now me pese mekasa yenti the conversation oni o man hine kwabena santi etwetwe ewo Adom TV eso na yekoba ya toa enkomodidie ni so ewo hanoma nyankopɔ isra o
sisi ano enye se obi ho akye no obi dia wo ho no obi mfa ngo ho da bi eye enkyeremu na nipa nya ede enti ase na ansa na no me kya asɛm asi o me fie just last 2 weeks ya kyerɛ me ofia na abrewa bi bae ana o se ne nana bi bon kro no na me na me MP me won potem ho to de betum anim me moa na ma prosifo ma kyerɛ ne nana no ma no enam se de na de aba o se ne ba wa brukyere busum bi obra no $200 bronya bre no ko se sa onya 3,200 that is can 32 million let's say 1,000 bi na onya 1,600 because $1 bi ade bagana na ye 16 cedis into onya 32 million nano akra no kobaya or the 2,000 ka kra bi afa wa first can be 1,200
wow
nti akwa na ekromfo
onim de ekoso
o mahene na meti wodinam se everybody na abufu a ode baaye no enya asem ketwa enam se abra omo okro no omampanyini dwom ama baaye no yesika na e content manuoma boy ye den ndi di okofa ka afia brochire ba ha no wodi bedru ha na osesa $1 mu a na asidi na ne boy ye den Ghana fo ntimi ntua nti ma yon ro say ye kofa afia brochire ba ne boy no pagya ya ekodru be 9,000 plus ton no but ne no ya masidi no wo de dollar ne ba wunya sidi sa first what the $1 ba na unya 16 and now the $1 ba unya 10 cedis ka crave ne da so
25
afonu aso ka cheme na da na Muhammad so yesa na so mama misika 1,200 ko
aboy
na me to me bo e cheche nsese wa anya sa so a adwuma ma o man ni nyeyie na ye de akosi bronika dollars wo de ba ye cedis mu a na ye kakraka ama akosi broni se ye yakohwefo ye mo ye bosia bio ndi Ghana koba bia se akwaje bosia ye nya bi sese na mama ye ne saa no ama ye ka no so ati hwim abro 100 billion graph so ama ye ho aya akono ama Ghana san enye na nimonyam o se ha saa ene ese mu nsemi so edo so no do de asie sa pepepe nete.
Okay, so what's summing up on my church in teacher Kofi or the media my come what I'm doing is said you have the privilege first 5 people because there are a lot of questions we need to ask. Just 5 people. Assembly and on cocoa methods. But say interactive. One could natural and will be a mouse. Nipa enum. Many be sharing common as cocoa common and send the feed Ghana because feed Ghana was the main aim, honestly. It was solely on feed Ghana and cocoa getting home common as but 0302 211 701 equals 4 0302 211 701 equals 4 question B nipa nu question B would you say at on tiasie twitwiri bi o baby I dey say no mo ye na say no mo ye na ade na ne sika ne ekoku ku ne sika e ba no akwa afia bi mo so mo pregem ko say sa anchiri mu no enipa num wadaro ma because you won komo but to start with the campaign promise John Dramani Mahama opposition then now president of the land was that 70% increase.
Yeah.
And then Mudi say 62 and
70.
Mudi 70. Mudi 70. Increase equal 70.
Yes. And yeah, increase no. 70% of FOB price.
Exactly.
Say your cotton cocoa no abuja. Sika ibenya free mubiano. Yema Ghana kweni no 70%.
Okay. So remember so say 70. Dem kokoko ko wi answer. Kokoko ni wi ade ni aba. Okay. Kokoko ma che na pom ti say.
Nyame adomo.
Wadara o kasa free yetie o.
Ti bososo mi kasa ti bososo.
Kokoko ba che yetie.
Ache bososo.
Yetie o.
Ba cho dama previous government no was on. Wa mo kan say koko no. Say na price of the mayen is see. Na na ni wa sifia otua score the two super
that's right. Sika the two so say you say
no 200 cities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The percent identity.
Okay.
That's right.
So you only concern here more criticizing previous administration said they should have given you better, them better. And they the modia account on the calculation they do 200 cities simple.
Yeah.
The offering audition match here and I put say hello, match I put say good morning, I put say so quickly.
Thank you, my.
Pacho kase free.
Mediani also free the cafe free Amanse South District. Manso Dubia.
Manso Dubia, yetio.
Open guess here, and I'll say any Juma Obama Ghana, any you are saying now. My question is, I buy that any chair mono. Now, fertilizers are a dima if you are bono. You do baby no, now almost Thomas if you are for. But me say I buy na bojuma o here to continue on there be ya e be boa e farmeta omo e boa makuku en so etimi abegya so na me buta say fertilizer application no fertilizers no any e kwan ben so na buy ko free ma ma buy be pa so na o distribute to e dey ma farmers
fertilizer
na dey hia pa
fertilizer application
abo na enyini ne anya so pa so a fertilizer e ya dey a e be boa yen ti be say Honorable Eric Opoku e boa yen no say kwan a fertilizers no you bet me distribute that we also free here come on.
Okay, Cheba for from Kumasi. Oh yeah, Cheba for from Kumasi. Okay, Cheba also. Cheba for Kumasi also. Hello, Cheba for.
Yes sir.
Machi na hoye. Na Kumasi the hotel na ngbo. That's it. Whatever about you meet you. Na kuraba ase na ofi. Ufre kuraba ase.
Me prefer Kumasi.
And I'm saying, a crab by a sin of Flobia for a crassy.
Efijasi banko,
Good. Patrick, you. What's him?
Wadaruma, Mr. Eric Opoku.
Yes, sir.
Omun call rounds, no more pagana facho. Omun call rounds, no more precria facho. And some more kabu previous government so. And some more kabu and other buying so. Another banya ni paboni na osise kuafo kuafo ti kan kiye chemu nyansa o se koma kuafo mienu na ka bana fa baako afedie do ya calculation na atre previous government ni de no mun calculation ye afedie ko boku calculation na o ya atre.
Okay, so
dollar bafo
yentie the
previous government no more reasons tiana.
Okay, maybe Odaruma Jina ya kakra said the boy I think I'm sure Jina so men fa so the tie wa ka say Mrs. here o say ene amongst inchirimo modern ban say Ghana cedi no abo no more in terms of na holding to the dollar no e ho no kura na
fine e ho no kura but previous government no na world price of cocoa na then also form on from center creation now price of cocoa na also form
there be don't need what we say was maybe how you answer on pacho if you say money akuafo ni ni sa chopa no pacho to be ya no aman there odi ho e hwan bi wadaroma abushua ma chi apom design You chat to on there, into baby, and then we have a lot of things. I just do my chair now. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm also.
Oh, Namia do me be come. I just Mr. You.
Yo, it is me be some kind of cuckoo and someone more.
Yeah.
MPP Aban was no. Aban as it here was MPP Abano. I catch it. MPP Abano Coton, Ukunu, a German. 9,800. Now, Yamomo, a Piafono 3,000. Tina said, Abana 6,000. The Ubisa Minister Man said, Sician Omoma Piafono 3,250 cents. Send the Eton with German. Now, send a binary to say offer. Because now MPP brain almost 6,000. To say NDC is 10 or more. And Omoma Piafono 3,200.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. P said Monjana Martin. Minister, address this one quickly enough. Yeah, okay. Institute also say we are the.
You, my name say baby, can you better? I'm afraid in your house.
Yeah.
Say I need to tell my. Oh yeah, penny now don't my anwa. BBC no man for ntiasia. Na wenya bre, na wa chichi much trouble. The edika no. Osi adenti na yetu mu kete. O my name, you
call in 200.
No 200. No cre. Yakwa amansan dwom no cocoa ton no yenya no $7,200 amansan dwom na afi wei krachefo a wo man mu nyina obetbi ya betumi agugu no ahwe global cocoa price no o ma predict wo dwom say afi wei whether ne ye e wa Africa and the cocoa be increase production be increase and the ama price no every day bia no on average reduced by $3.46. And the cocoa no $7,200 per ton. The dollar bia you better on 7,000 ton bia you better on 7,200. Ya share kuyafo bo say yema ekuyafo 70% ebo na ebenya no ho no. Fafo na calculate $7,200. 70%. $5,040. Last year, 2024, MPP Aban code no. Onya 9,000 plus.
Oh, no, mo ko 64 kg bag no.
Yes.
I said 6,000.
Yes, because now exchange rate no. Tieni o. Onya $9,700 no. Or the $3,001.
So exchange rate is a key determinant.
Onya enyama hokra yente edwom ho price na yenya na se ansani aba exchange rate
750 to 5,040
dollars.
Okay.
And they say kuyani bia wo.
So the first point they say the assurance or promise of 70% has been achieved.
Now tieni 2024 omoko odwom no munya cocoa no 9,700. In fact na ya predicting where say cocoa short to abrochire and the price was how cost so edu abi kura na 11,000. That is why omanya for where sales
god they knew
say ebe cost nti yenye de ebe boa yenya ebe ma se cost kura ebe nya advantage afrim into for $9,700 na abani di mu $3,100 and bre ekuyafo
e na wo kemu no
o de meba menya no kura $3,100 no de bre ekuyafo nti last year cocoa aban to yin bag du nsia bia ye ton no or the $3,100 and the toy afi ye ko dwom ho no cocoa bo no ye 7,200 but ya share kuafo bo say e was kuafo di ye almost 70%. Enti cocoa bo ye de ma afi no ye $5,040.
And that's exactly your promise.
Our promise.
70% of the FOB no.
That's right. Not just say dollar na ekoji ye no afi we cocoa ton bia na buy the almost $2,000
and
atoso but what chinye bi o ho
there be chinye bi no
3,100 last year
to 55,040
in the say the 3,100 akuafo nya bag du nsia last year afi kuani nu nya $5,040 but what is kind ba yemfa dollar no to cocoa no isa won nane e de ko cedis. But last year, no, so what the $1 ebedru Ghana. Now when you're 16 cedis. And from the bedroom, on the 16 no multiply 3,100 no. And on your 49,600 per ton. And on which 16 edema bag bia and a bag bia 3,100 100 and I dollar ni bedru ye no
What's the sound?
what the $1 ni bedru now se sa enye 60 bio
Problem aba.
because ya ye o man sika 70 ye ama ye sika na ye dey ehun aye dene
Ana see dollar na aba form.
enti ama dollar no aba form
CD ni wasoro.
cedi ni wasoro enti now the $1 bedru a ubenya 10
10.25
25 pesos o man ni what man say enti ama
The sound to will not be felt.
what you say enti even though dollar no wanya bebere ba won na ne koye cedis ni mu a exchange rate na ye de aba form ni enti no ama ye kokuya ni o cedi value no cedi terms no in nominal terms ayeketwa what was there
Papa. So common now is centered around this.
enti see ano o se medical camp we be accept no
In common what is out there is your promise of 70%. The breakdown now means that 5,040 as against Obi and all 9,000 as of that time. Now the break 3,100. When the dollar that time
Yes.
was 16.
Yes.
What's that?
yes
And then she share no ma buy no dollar no enya aba form. Ama see the no up again.
Yes.
This amount a difference of $2,000 crowd to the area brew no. Usika no enko soro
Yes.
because you can why din.
yes afi what I say
What I say?
now obi bisa wasem bi o say na aban afa say ofa say see asa de yeka ne a $7,200 $7,200 o man na wa multiply no by 1025 we dey wa between ayo 7,200 by 1025
7,200
by 10.25 ebema 73,800 now we divide no we koko akonya na brochure nyina ho so what you say the okonya na brochure nyina ani o ena so benya koko bag bi ade kwa brochure ton bi a o see this no ye benya 73,800 so
divided by the
we divide ton
So all
nyina
we
no
got is 70.
it will the cup divide by 16 area brochure bag bo divide by 16 enti o the bag bi akwa brochure a we benya say 4,600 assign exchange rate no yeah the 10.25 and the check here to 4,600
612, yeah.
now out of this 4,000 no aban say remember kwani no 3,228 enti te free ne hu the aban file
Okay, so you're tear from
minus 3,228
to
I think 0.75 well if I say yeah remember I'm saying
1,384.
1,300 and every bag. I buy there 1,300. Now I buy 1,300 now. Bag be a what free so. Near ma what they be ya make ni. 1,300 no. The na last year or 3 and me for market free more. What the be to fertilizer make you phone free. And no be say na you be channel.
Musa go back to free.
Yes, because cocoa no conform. You be see increase production. Enti akuafo no ye de fertilizer ne komo mo a ye pese obi anya bigu nefo titiu de yare bia ni nefo so afata so onya cocoa no fertilizer gu ase we ye cocoa fertilizer then says ka we ya anso answer first no
Administrative cost am kasai no.
aha ya reduce on kakraka
So kasai o. Say administrative cost nko ya mini sika ya
na
kadi
3.4 billion Ghana cedis 34 trillion 2023 unprecedented in the history of Ghana. It is a ne ya maska na anko say na administrative na anya ketekete a ya dikua ni ni hwambo. The only problem senka MBP 416 no. Say exchange rate in the year 16. Say the omde calculate last year no. 16 na one ade multiply 5,040 na. Enka kua ni koko bag no. Enka na buro 5,000 wo nya 6,000 Ghana.
Okay, so yema kua ni ntia say na wo bag ba ko as against can no ko ton ako bag ba ko yese.
And the ewo Ghana.
El Ghana no.
3,228.
As a result of
The exchange rate.
it me ba na me catch no say enye papa what should be mentia say.
You see the entire obetu aka say.
So that's where the challenge
Yes,
is now.
the challenge is say oko manage economy a. Now oko dwom sesi asa okoto iron rods a. Obako na iron rod no ne bo no so ate because of exchange rate na
about 6,000 or so.
na 9,000 plus no obenya no be 6,000. Enura obi so obeto car the omde twe ayi ni bi no anwea no emo no se no onya no oba first no 20 December ho na ye 16 billion OCDs 1.6 million na no oba ye no omde dollar no ye no aba 10 billion kakra bi that's 1 million ene ketwa bi ndi oya nya service be 6 million but I say what must say that is what the exchange rate can do. That is why a business environment no one me fan yoma be nyina aka say aban na yade so ama exchange rate na ye dey agina na ni so so ne say wa wo de dollar free at the montane ba bia no wo be sesa ba cedi mu a wo de no be dey e be ye ketwa. And that is why I started with Abrewana story no me ba what must say there Abrewana wo ba mama ba so say yes wa ma o man na yesika say mu gina because of the exchange rate no one no also affect no because the dollar na e de bre no o se san wonya cedi na o de dey enya no enti makodwo mi koton koko dollar na e de ma me ya ma me 7,200 my shop was my mama kuya for 70%. My calculate 70% no $5,040. Me de ma kuya for. Na mo was samba CDC mo a me exchange rate was sa de kuya ni benya ni. O ma hene. Me be some bisa one question there. Yes, exchange rate no. Said the 16 na and it's about 10 to 24 10 20 you know
10.25 is the best.
And yeah,
it's the best.
Oh yeah, sure.
Very very.
So Nisun sounds really bini.
10 and no quite empathy. That's why me set a premise. Honestly, conform me my uncle for $1 in terms of like a Tiabusumi bia. And they are complaining that a buying more than bona how more patch they say. Na ketua e ba in dollars. Ti kanina dollar no wasro no. Na ketua ne bibili. Abucho mommy antia say that's why me sha say can say you be din komono from the angle of say Ghana Kweni no. I'm obi a winner. Ghana be a winner. Kweni be a winner. Some of these things will pop up. And no other commercial saying you know. Obi a the American could NDC for consultate Hon Eric Opoku. Say mo di ehwambo. Obi a be kind of person monko na monko pacho if you say. But a chop and then person metias. Until me share that mark when you say, "Wow, how be a bro adwene ntias so." For say say me but be e nyina ye di chimne say. Aden e name mutimatu from 3-1 to 5-4. Na yesika yenya no aye kumebi patro me spokesperson for the government but the question is if we start approaching things from a national point of view the results will always be positive for Ghana. Yesika na gina it is a who can na kuta $10,000 2024 the $10,000 be ma 2024 no and that same $10,000 no one we abusu say that Abrewana can say eh adia it's but to some of them a pain as Ghana grows at the expense of anybody including me akra metie
onim exchange rate sanity every bia exchange rate be kosoro no ese bia just how the cedi bebre no akwaje dollar no e ma neoma boye den manipa ho kire wo no obi aye dey esu na eba form nso a wo dollar wo dey ba bia no wo di bedru ha na ye ketewa bi etu ya say o man ne me makoton koko ya mabra kuya for $3,100 no bi so akoton koko wa bra kuya for $5,040 anga hwa na ni akuya for na di ni ye na mo wo ba na wo nane e de kosi di ni mu pe na exchange rate na wo tutu ni ye no se kura se bebre san papa se exchange rate no emra from more na ko madwuma businesses ni na anya dey enye yi se ba from more na kwaje $1 ba na ma akuafo no $10,000 kra na san ba for more e ma scanner side na eno so no e won sunsanso e san de boye because sika e benya bia na ye de try de e do come market na de wo koto no se ne bo no so aba for more esimu ha.
I think some of the positive this thing has done is that Ghana the kapao dollar eka I build interest all the time. But ne okoye kana na bia na million because of the dollar
niti o jakia
no man shine free ekana you have no idea.
Yes,
even though you're painful but money benefiting big time. It me kwade bia da meka aban bia ababo more than dollar usi di bit menya wo de $10 no entem power wo de anka twetua e ka dodo na wo no because we are not guaranteed of the stability of our dollar sir. Aban in the first 7 months no what me aye no abo no homodin bia amanage na timi se koko akuafo amowo all over the country all over the country. The truth we cannot run away from is that government of today if we are holding him by his 70% promise now, if you do that on FOB in terms of a year, a sikashuna a year ton where grandma is saying now the 70% a year in Chimuni about $5,040 as against the other previous administration where the dollar was hovering around 16. Chop a bien. That's the first point. Maybe you will not appreciate it because you see the now holding our cost unity. So when you're even a difference of $10,000 krona still, you're not appreciated. Now let's come proper to the welfare of the cocoa farmer. Because you know, Ibini Benantiako said the most Monantico, Ibini misrepresented all the time. Obi a kind of the welfare of the cocoa farmer continues to be a challenge. Under your jurisdiction, this administration, how do we improve it? Because clearly, meaning that cocoa can be a juma pa, but the sick can be all no. They be other. What are some of the incentives? So he will not feel that pain.
Yeah. My name say Medawase. Na sana omanche chere ya na etie. Eba se ya. Awsa abandon ni hwe kwan ben mefa so a meso akuafo mu ama ayeyi. And that is why Abane say, like in 2016, say you know, Abane say, sika 1,300 per bag of cocoa beer. Ghana buying air trade ya to hono. Mechem di biya tuya egmai fono ka. Di ebesa kano. Di empesa me di yeni. Me de size can be ebeto fertilizer meche di ama akuafo no. Cocoa board beba abontene akere kwan a ombefa so ama akuafo nsa aye dey aka fertilizer no. Na kwani bi anya bi ede agu nefo so. Then number 2, size card krona no. Mesa de kakra to ho. Akuafo a wo mu manim nwoma na o ma wie secondary school a ya na university no den no. Me bi so be kushi wo mu. Aye scholarship de amankwala no. Na wo matumi akọ university no asa beboa awofo no so bio. Plus several other interventions. But this is your first year in government. We only want to be honest and transparent to the Ghanaian farmers. Mimitia says here, cocoa price e kakraka menyeskapa. Me ma me no me nuanom ne ade nyina enyeskapa pa. But my wife for market no ba no be catch them say ye koye no mo ane ye koto no eso atia mageni because exchange rate na ye dey aboa. Exchange rate na mane Ghana na ka mre yen enti ye de akoto aman ye de ka ntimi ntuamu enu nti Ghana akoye de friend domestic and external debt exchange programs
DDEP
ama ye kan ye tua she da se da achi betua no ene ye nima banyama ye debt sesia no so de koka ye GDP ho a wo de toto ho a ye 43%. Na ye say ya ba form a oman no sika sebe ye dey ejina yi. Okay, obi anti as ye say Ghana ban enye na dwen say wo hwie akua ni sika. Na that time where ye argument no me kind na oman ma ka just me politics been petrol twawo 9,700 abana ma akua for 3,100 and ya ka kira aban say da bi sa wo ma akua for no 6,000 and how far 3,700 na at least ka akua ni no be dey e be har no etimi ye table e kire percentages say the aban no fa no wa fa dodo a ni kwa say sa na sika no ye dey eye I was at the one quack for now buying no faketua bi. Anytime I betwa cocoa boa, I buy no fakes here, I check for no see for. And at that time, I buy no chemunai, and one no far, me and sa, and no milk for no back. Now me pa catch for a debate in Sir Obinya analysis. O you so table I share the year press conference, most and for that dear swabano. Only the same table, sir, a bonny you say. Exchange rate we say yes say wunya say enti dia aban ama no wa fa akuafo do say na nka akuafo nyina anye dey ehunu bi ona obi anso ni obepia controversy as ma make kire wa ha ni because $7,200 now with the 10.25 exchange rate no calculate na wa hunu kokwa a sika ebenya no woton ni mu na afi wa cha ma bag dusia na wa hu abrochire kokko bag na ye dey ebo na wa hwe say bag do boy 4,600 now by so America we have 3,200. Now one for 1,000 something. Yeah, the one I could do for. Okay, so but the problem has been the exchange rate.
Exchange rate.
In any case,
exchange rate, IMF forecast I say is just artificial. Is that the case?
So exchange rate is artificial.
We cannot rely entirely on our exchange rate.
No, but that is what we have now. Yeah, they calculate your cocoa boy there. That is what we have. But you have to say with gold bond, yeah, they gold scabby eba. Yeah, they need dollars. And they support your dollar inflow no. Certainly, you will stabilize your dollar no actually. But the point is that mempe argument abatra baby I know I can say oh we see way o mind what tie me a me ba o studio 2024 campaign mu no never and I can say yes see wo mo nti man fa table bi ama me ma figures e kire say the turn abuchiri say na aban de ma akuafo aban na fa dodo I want your colleagues na eye debate nyina say obi a me kire say the adema yi ne boye say what the exchange rate check here say na unya and aban na fa dodo na ka akuafo ni nyina nti
lots of the text messages about Mamenken can quickly because we have other two issues to do and then wrap up. The simple analogy if among yourself na fray in enya in fact the truth is that if you look at what the NDC did at that time fortunately Mikrom this year two sana mono and he's here he's not run away from the Okan. If you disagree on any seminar, what makes our conversation and our democracy beautiful is that you have the opportunity to push out the argument that you think that he's not being real to the situations as I me. The year me pa say adena to move $5,040 amba. Now acquire a difference of less than 200 Ghana cedi. Now the explanation is that your boy home modern way seek to your dollar no. Inti ama Koko Kenny Newman Kakaraka said the Enkwana because they promised 70, they've delivered the 70. But Sikana Aban, because of the performance of the city, it's difficult to get what you want to get. But it should be positive for the cocoa farmer. A lot of the messages say the minister will explain tire. But in explaining to be tired, it is all of us our interest. So upon all the noise they did to our cocoa farmers, it was only 100 and coins. Mohammed, if you want to be specific, 100 and coins. Let's be specific. When we do that, we ignore the relevance of sustaining a city that is performing against the dollar. A key. Say, say at a certain point in the life of Ghana, now the city to the dollar, a more rem kakra, and prices were skyrocketing. A buying a bond homodimbi and they by whatever mechanism they've put in place. The only codiga ewa manone and was $1 to cocoa. You know that already. You will change it into our cities to purchase the cocoa. In changing it, that's what the challenge is. Because see the need bomoding. Clearly you have a challenge with it, but it's good for the country.
When you as I'm from answer MPP for Fraconaso. Omokoton your cocoa na yente. And no ton bag be $2,600. Ton be tell you 330,000 tons. Tell what did the say? Yakwaje husikano. Amo ya usual we. Akasi e beti cocoa no.
Nyanti cocoa no.
Enfanko tu asaka no. Eno so bo a. Omo de to so a de husikano. $2,600. And they see at the air and say, Yasra Wamwa, the entire boy will graduate. Yasra Wamwa, Yakwaju Music and say, About for Naba. Who tell you they are mine? And to my break a crabby, Nayan to near me, and Sana says, Can you go to Yasa? I feel we could quite see a Pesiano. About the scene is after we were in your crown was on 650,000 tons. A man, you so what is 650,000 tons now? Now, also you 330,000 tons. Eduko tua a car no de wunya si di kura anya dai enfrim etinen ka akwa benya ebo no 7,200 ye de ka ton no 2,600 aji huska wi no asa wo de 330 no kwasa monyim koko na yesa wo ne wo moye dai eka. Can you imagine this? So I'm surprised say you anu man before wo ma tua nya sanya kokoduro ekwo kasa ensensem we say because look at this. It has never happened in the history of Ghana. So I buy the cocoa no, to the tune of 330,000. aji hu sika yusu na yɛntumi fa cocoa no yɛ dɛ ɛnkɔyɛ.
Okay, so we'll wrap up with this one. Then just two of why you are here, but when you became there's a full year catching your MPP Mudiaba making
naturally.
The world market price is still high. We agree to that.
That's right.
No new production initiatives have been launched in over half a year. We agree to that. Cocoa Board's internal finances are being mismanaged. Farmers have been abandoned. You agree?
Definitely.
IMF July report tells a very strong Cocoa Board. The IMF commends the previous administration of the productivity enhancement programs such as pruning, mass spraying, and pollination. The IMF also states that the new financial model being used is working and has saved Cocoa Board money on financing cost. Is that correct?
Maza, the other thing and transform baby, yeah, pruning. You try cocoa from a femina cocoa na day. Aso cocoa, so also by Dohua, or Don Sabaya cocoa no beso. At the end of the day, no cocoa output na saying cocoa a picky year 2021, yenya 1 million 20 something thousand, 1,047,000 no. Omo kona 500,000 tons. So pruning na try mo ese cocoa aso no e we Then again,
with all what they did,
yes,
and to reflect.
I reflected. Then again. Abankro na MPP abana esa di cocoa dua no akodi aginemu akwaje bosia $650 million so di betwa cocoa nagu no asa dua no foforo omayne omaye auditing Cocoa Board will report no eno so ya asem foforo kra omuguso ye ho adwuma $650 million no ye twa kuafo bebre mfo nagu bebre ho aya nua ye twa gu keke few of them eno mutimi dua ye wo mo mbo mo paase mo no muntwangu bebre so yantua omoka eno ya another area yes ahwe at the same time no oman no wutie me de
me pa
at the same time no omo so omokoye akuafo na kwan ekwan ekọ cocoa growing areas cocoa rows no omo contract
so and the jai and audit ni buy na
21 billion eno so ye kai da ho Ghana cedis cocoa rows no kwa me na make a chiro now I'm surprised yen nuanom bi before pekasasa hwa wonim omo te task force bi sanko force mo ga cocoa no ko Burkina Faso ni Togo and the task force no ko chi cocoa no ma task force ya mo ka ya mo logistics a o metu dia yesa adwuma no mo say se mo chi cocoa bi a de bre ya de force mo no sika e benya no ye be chemu miensa ma mu mienu ni afa baako.
David, it cannot be possible.
What's it?
David, I'm not privy to this, but don't go to that. How do you do that?
What's it? It cannot be possible.
Now, what coach here? They are not banned. They can't go say echo. Oh, boy, man, patriotism bit in the show, but the compensation aspect. How do we give you two and the state to take one? How is that possible?
And possible.
Now, how is that possible?
Cocoa mochi, you know, who estimate here never 30 million Ghana cedis. Omo man for no 20 something million. And yamina make on. Handing transition notes, no transition document, handing over documents. I'm the bread transition committee, no. Me na me lead the agri session, no. She may be something. Hey, how?
No, but is that what is happening?
So that's what I make a choice. Say, I'm surprised. Say MPP 40 bar bontene, knowing very well. Say exchange rate ni. No one ya calculation be no be akaska bisa. I say these people.
Debbie. What man come on from baby before? How do you? How do we hand over a transitional document to you, and that document reflects that smuggle cocoa no wow we attempt to be as board no approve here it is in the record say board now approve say we dey yanko enim da so ban bi mo.
That is why I make a choice say the way am messy cocoa sector no say yan fa abotre anya ne kakra yentimi nye ne ye. And that is why you take it about President Mahama. There's one thing I like about him. Omane, osi menye bie wa no aka asem no. Mo make sure say dia aka no, eno an ye be dey, ye be di so. Na cocoa sector ne ni mase. Ewo finance. Ene.
Oh, omo ye free agri.
And the finance.
Now, the previous one
never agri. Yeah, by a changing law no. Because of a canoa, and then the whole be no. The president was say, a canoe do so no do. Edi evan ko fa na finance mo asika sem no entoto ne yie kakra sebe ya Cocoa Board benya ne ho kakra. You see Randiabe obre because e kwan ya ma fa so Cocoa Board ho no obi a wonim kokɔ adwuma ni bia nim sɛ mess no so in fact o man test message yi o mo ho yɛ nwanwa pa o sɛ de bia me ba me ka kyerɛ sɛ o mo pushi yɛn ɛma yɛ de ensɛm bi wɔ hɔ a wo de ba abontena na sector no kora wo ya collapse no sɛ what you say enti aban no say kokɔ bia me kwa akoto bia me akuafo 70% makɔ market ho ebu amanyani akuafo mo nye 70% me the 70% na yɛ $5,040 kuani nye ba wo de ba me mamu amesa akɔ me currency yes akɔ me currency mo no me cedi na nya ho the strongest currency in the world now yes san ya ama ye cedi na yɛ dai akɔfom wa wo say wasisi akuafo san ye sisi akuafo me probi obe prove me say last year no sika no de ma akuafo no ta na nye 31%. It was just 31%, 30.1%. And on the ma akuafo FOB no 30.1%. Now mo to office now fe back 3.4 billion Ghana cedis. Yes, here the office expenditure administrative cost 3.4 34 trillion. And you na make on Auditor General's report. This is what we are changing. And then yeah reverse no. I'm a kuani na wo bre no. Ye ma the 70%. Na say your exchange rate no economy na gina ma exchange rate na ye ama CD equivalent no aye ketwa na the same person enya the courage e gina bonten say yesisi akuafo
no
wo de tisi agric na me fan sembra so perfect Ghana
yeah be perfect Ghana but yen disabuse that mindset. It's not healthy for us. Tieka say nanti the master plan also can. We the cocoa farmers don't know what is called FOB. We don't care about the dollar rate and the losses that Cocoa Board made in the past. All what we want is our 6,000 per bag of cocoa.
Onye cocoa farmer.
Mahama, I break your heart. What would you say to such a person?
In fact, onye cocoa farmer. Because yagume na ye no. What we said, me na me ranking member. O man Robert Kaya, me ma say me kan me sesa. Me say, aban na anya hwe kra no. Enka oso ma akuani no based on price awanya no o ma akuani ni 6,000. Obaka in one of the program me can say eda exchange rate no beba from so your calculation answer so atia me ni problem. But so we sika yanya free cocoa ni mu no sa bag bia yanya 9,700 here. So o ma akuani no 6,000. Now for 3,700 no kra akuani and that was the minimum. Say 70% and you calculate is 9,000 na 9,700 na kakuani ni ba ko be 7,000. Come by 7,000. 70% dey make akuafo sesi aí. Say exchange rate ni gina ba bia gina. And ya nya bo no 9,700 na sa. Ka Ghana kuani benya more than the 6,000 we're talking about.
Okay, so horrible.
Enti the best akuafo no say aban ni adwene bia sa o short change kuani bia. The person ya answer Ghana akuafo ebedi 70% of the FOB you deliver. Your only challenge they say what's a sako CDC.
Please, it's not a challenge. No, it's not a challenge. When we do that, Minister, we are not helping. It's not a challenge.
Good.
We should make Ghanaians understand that in building a country, one of the pillars, we should rather be applauding and praying for sustenance of how you see in the age 10, 25, 11.
Already know Ghana for you bought about say Yama exchange rate regional. But price by President on my friend because no price loser and a price loser. But you say I'm obi antiasia. Obi abaka say na 7 day etie. Into mind no kwasam we mu an maka cho no. Na da bia mba ha say obi say bia me my evidence. Me mpe me kwa ba bia. Me say cratch bia wonim kokoo mu. What figures ebe disprove the make cho no. Manin famra bontene. Na obi o ma mu bia no entie na argument ni bi. On calculate price no. Say you cotton abrochi enya say on fa exchange rate in check no more akuafo amane say me bo akuafo because me the table to ho and am ya analysis chere akuafo say akuafo your tom koko na say ni enya de a enko say onya say e di abama say di a wasisu and still me dey gina mu den
okay
say this kwa ni enya say ska no and ye this abo we buy a come na me the first person to rise against that.
I've read a lot of your articles that even and I prompt you about some of the things that okay whether and I'll read and it's almost the same that you have
yes
said. I'm sure and I know people are sending messages now. You are the spokesperson now. No the principle that's been our challenge. Baby, that if we want to go back into history and healthy for the country to move forward, we're going to have a challenge because references can be made. But when we open a chapter, what we are saying is that our politics should be devoid of propaganda, of deceit, of lies. Let's speak to the reality. The reality we are picking out this morning, whether you agree or you don't, it's a fact that the city is performing. It's a fact that the dollar is a measurement for a pricing in terms of cocoa. It's a fact that the dollar and local cocoa. So clearly, if you have all the thousands of dollars now about cocoa, changing back cities now, it's as if the city is performing. Who create me combination and tell me, me will fire creating. Clearly, about the complaint actually say, I'm thinking the say almost will call 5,000. Karina minya 3,000 and I call 5,040. I'm not minya sikabi brisan. It's a see truthful to Ghana and to ourselves. Near catching, I will say, Esan says Sikano, Ghana Sikana, and Nadia. Airborne homoding ewa Germans, and nothing a man basa. It is not anything bad for the country Ghana. That's why it's important for government to also look at other things that can sustain and push the welfare of the cocoa farmer higher. Then Simon encouragement. Key amongst them, and the Agric Minister Bako that was we are going back to the free fertilizer issue. Both NDC and NPP. I know if the NPP picks up this matter, the propaganda will be around. Someone and I'm less than 200 or so. And on the surface it's true, but when you break it down, everybody is winning. The country is being run well in terms of our city to the dollar. No? Clearly it will affect other things. And are affecting. So let's be truthful to ourselves as a country. That's where I have an interest. Straight to the point, and transparent as we can, and very, very, very ready to serve Ghana before other interests be follow. Let's streamline our communication in this era. It will help us a lot. Because I tried the intra-church and today, we need to open that chapter to help Ghana focus. That is the key. Very important. Feed Ghana.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Good, on mine. Answer the bachelor was here. My man can't be sure. Young watch no cool. May be your ministry.
Okay.
Na besa mi boss na OTB. 2024, 5th November. Aya banda down. And we year Farmers Day. Kuyania wonya overall best farmer. Officer tre afram place so. Dua bro ni nyoma hodo bebre. Yam pianka.
Now again now.
Me office na no an oba se be me na mesrewa me na me nya award no. Besinde. Ya me nya ska no ti bo
I said those awards they are not ready though.
Ah ya farmer no. Onya. Afei the onya the best physically challenged farmer award no. Yenu anu asabi bibi nti omuni ahoden. The onya award na one na ye the best no. Na o se ma no 200,000. Ono so wenya. Nipa miensa eka papa no a onya overall no omo nyina mo nsanka omo yi no nfa on beka kire na ya de a ha adwene yaso ye prepare say this year so ye beye bie say omo ye di ka ye ni anfa mo
no
na sa okofro bi kura so ma ya akwafo no be lusu gideom ti nyambo echena nyame adaroma ye nyeska no edi before aboaye enti ye nyeska ye de be ma award no ye de be ma wo mo enti chena me man santwefo nyina behwe bi na ye de sa award no ama wo mo na this year no obi biara e be ma na award biara no obeje na award ansan wo fi awia bonase.
I hope that is the case.
Eni kwai se ye de kofa
so baby I ugina wo cancel no.
Yes,
I hope it will be the case.
Exactly. You know how I work. Sa fe na be kofi gana de obehu bebre enya de be ma kwan se obi emeye ayi yafa bibi nchiro se waje wabra woni ye nye bio obia beje na award ansa na bakọ no baby. Now feed Ghana. Mind feed Ghana ne say ya man twedi amponi adini se de na afie kana no pay no. Ya wasase bide a esopa anya aman nyina na wosa. Ya wonsuo ne nam ya asase mu anya nipa nyina na wona sa. Ya omrante ne mabaawa e wa hoden betimi aye adwuma. Ana ba adwadie nso a the whole Africa ayi free continental ayi nyina esi ha continental free trade ya ha na wo. So adenti na agriculture no yentimi nnu aduane e ma de ebedie kura yenya. na yɛkrakra nneɛma bi sɛ ntosi firi Burkina Faso yɛkra agye free Niger sɛ Burkina Faso tumi dua ntosi
so currently sa enkomodidie we ashifti and we know say God is in control ebetimi akoso ebio na do you know what the ema owura we Kofi Palu LPG the ema no make that statement efa helicopter crash no the conversation where me mo ko tie koko ehun sensem increment and this omo opposition a omo promise koko akua force omo ba one bag bia no omo beto no 6,500 okay e be kan 6,000 crowd ai ne the dollar rate ni eba form ema the international markets enso omo prices no a decrease here approximately no anase so we run here not just affect the price of the producer at a local market which is Ghana. Now Kofi Palu se ma no kan na any say NDC for other than Akuafo NDC for other than Akuafo because omo make key statements vehemently extremely hard on cocoa prices brand no more position so omo ba omo be increasing but ebedu say omo aba power I was omo increasing no they were telling different stories eno na man ekoka say helicopter crash no e kan hu bi nti e kwatito e wo kokofuo mu a emo mo hye no see this was one of the funniest comments and I've seen a lot of media houses, some networks, platforms, social media platforms, roasting this guy, blasting him left and right, and he deserves it because as a matured person and somebody who wants to lead Ghana, the only thing you must say is to do what to mourn with them. If you can't mourn with them, you will just keep quiet and what. But let me tell Mamin Kasa same way. Mumfanchemi say in the Asamiki Cambro of Mumfanchemi. Mumamin Kasa same way. One thing about politicians are any say yes so muso. And I don't know, and yet only NDC. It cuts across MPP for Kahombi. And what am I talking about? Campaign promises. Words or use the choice of words they use when they are in opposition, how they sell their candidates when they are in opposition. And you can attest to the fact MPP for us as CAB, they did it in 2015, 2016. Finally, we gave them the power in 2017 to 2024. About Rebecca said about 70 to 80% of their promises couldn't finished. They couldn't implemented it. So they are still doing it. But then this is also can send and any can say omoka. That is the price. Meaning say no more explanation with the my honorable Eric Opoku explanation not the top form no. It sounds good, but meaning say explanation will honor. How on earth? How on earth? And I was a mutimi if you tip your say ye buy ye be 6,000. Of which you know say anyamuna mu control prices. You are not the price controller, and I say you don't control price. It depends on the market structure. It depends on the market structure. Say niema ko yi ewo beka say amononia adwaman so that is the international market. I am the person me katwi ni na moti ase niema ko yi ewo international market that is amononi adwaman so eno na mo betime control prices but eniema nkoye na se mo bomu team koka say oh ye buy e be able say because MPP for sisimo and all those things are easy. It tend to be say mo bana manye ne sa then you are deceiving the populace, you are deceiving the public. Eti ene na da ho no ene na da ho no ene na da ho no mo kai mobile mo ntimi anye Why didn't you do it? You said you have explanation to it. Of course, my explanation is on a thousand because uchichema na uhwe na yibi film na titibi film na dibi kika ho a e could do 70% that mo promise you know. But because of some of the figures be too so, the amount be too so, you know. And then some Ghanaians, some MPP, they are pressing your neck. Someone can ye, the mo person mo yeden, mo kaya na ne was a mo yeden mo de too so. So you see the conversation, when the way conversation is it here. It is a ne omu kuki omwa, and he say be obi ten obi. And if not the helicopter crash and combine NBC for they will explain tire and they will explain. I mean they go tire because obi enti yomo, obi enya daji enti yomo. Because they are more kind and obi ehwe. No meaning some more explanation. You could have gave that explanation then to Ghanaians. Moti say ampa and MPP for your way, but omo reasons any say. By a banner say name be to 2 years na say yes say ya. You say na be. Mo dey preocupa na mokoka 6,000 na mo banner omo demand 6,000 no more press mo neck. You want to run away from criticism? No, you can't. You can't run away from criticism. Eti Honorable Eric Opoku some no candidate sabi ensem a emu ademum but anya sa no mo kan in opposition. If you want to be frank to yourself, opese obey Ghana ni bias, obey partisan and now obey obi as a we a politician and politics did wa dream on minor. You can attest to the fact say the NDC for kan and the omoye no. It goes contrary. Although omoaba omosi omo the fertilizers any the other cocoa any cocoa post any cocoa ndro our so omo the more munya omo the be more. But I was saying nka mo ye dem chichim that time no. Eno na ama enti Ghana ni woni ni ye bibia me nka se sabi oye illiterate enti no kind of said you pay no wako. No. A dream maybe when the time of accountability comes, you only need just submit what you say. Be submissive. Your kind, just implement it. Na cool baby. That's all. It's in their own soul view of conversation. I catch was a mega mini politician, mini MPP, mini NDC. But then you're gone, you're also. NDC for ye bibi ebeka. Omo ye bibi boni ebeka. Omo ye papa ebeka. Samson MPP for ye bibi boni ebeka. Omo ye papa ebeka. Ni na eyo minor and ye na ye chichire. I just want to be a good citizen. The person so me your my papa because on mine ye ya empefo bu bebi sese. Enkwan ye da tano esebi no. On mine ye ya ne dollar ba for me. Say nyama omo atete so. Ofro car and waiting who say lord fear no. Omo bibi kakra fa ho. And oko adwaman so kototo nima bia you can attest to the fact say ene nima bo aba form ene nursing trainee any teacher training omo allowances omo di amomo ye papa no pensioners omo sika kinufurata omo di omo nsabu omo ene omo ina dey have retrieved everything to them ejino say ye na na ebe den ebe ye amaye but it doesn't mean say omo ye nso na nkoyi you keep quiet. No, you are here to criticize. You are here to criticize them constructively. So that is it. Chawaju or comment section. So one press me neck why we my drink it. It is sanity. So we shall for your position hanum a number 1 authentic platform negative. And you say the person me change I mean the studio kakra but for now let it be there. The man and go home. Now it was bye bye.